hell are you ordering again?
An action figure?
Yeah, but you got 1,000 figures on your shelf already. What the hell's wrong with you?
What do you mean what's wrong with me? I like this thing.
Do you really know how much time it takes to, remove all the dust for individual figures you have already and have to take care of them from sunlight and all? Because, colors are going to change over time. Probably you're going to get, like, scuffs or marks on your figure as it ages and stuff. How the hell are you going to manage all those things?
Shut the hell up, I know how to take care of my own figures. It's my thing, you don't have such rights to do this, say do this, do that, blah blah blah. I don't give a thing, honestly, dude. There are so many different methods that you can use to actually, take care of all of your figures at once. Or even make, trying to, give more love to the figures individually. And I'm gonna share that with you today.
Hey all, it's Blendverse, again. So today the angle looked kind of weird. I mean, the place I'm recording right now, I'm actually sitting on the right side of my tripod because it's kind of big. So yeah, here it is. So apparently from the poll or a survey or a vote that I uploaded in the community post yesterday or something, a lot of people wanted to see more of a video related to how to take care, or how I technically take a care with all of my figures, to just maintain them in their bestest condition and give them a lot of love to your figures, make them look like new ones, like almost for decades or so. So I just wanted to give you guys some tip, and I want to show you guys the general process that I always go through whenever I get a new figure on my shelf and how I take care of him, and so on as well. So this, I just received it. This is the secondhand item that I got. This is the one of the rare-ish, not too rare, but kind of rare. This is the 12-inch Robocop figure from McFarlane. I got it secondhand, just right now, just got it outside of the packaging. I didn't open the bubble wrap yet, but yet, yeah, we do have a pistol in a nicely packed in a plastic, the Ziploc bag, and nicely wrapped around the bubble wrap as well. So what I'm gonna do now, obviously, I'm gonna take off the bubble wrap and take a look outside of this thing. So here it is. I removed the bubble wrap that was surrounded on this box here. Yes, it's an old figure, because I'm a type of person to collect vintage figures more than the newly released one, as I mentioned quite a lot in this channel. But it still seems like not a lot of you or newcomers on my channel are still not aware of this thing. I am more of a vintage figure collector. There's so many different things that I collect besides dinosaur and things, but here it is. This is more like, it's not really a review. It's just I want to show you a exact process on how I take care of the figures that I just received, no matter if it's new or secondhand. So yeah, nice. Generally, it's my first time seeing this. Quite heavy and all, really nice. 12-inch, perfect size. Over here. So yeah, I'm gonna crack this thing open and see. So what I'm gonna do right now is unbox this guy, take a look all over this guy if anything's broken or anything, and then just kind of go through over the figure and give it a bit of articulation by myself and things to have a look and get deeper into this thing. And when you open these kind of figures with the wires that's covering like these old figures, what I usually do, especially because for this item, the previous seller made it much easier so that I can unwire this thing. Is that even a word? Untie this thing. So that's a cool thing. And because this is already a second-hand figure, it also means that there are definitely possible chances that it already has a bunch of scuffs somewhere. That's what I'm gonna go through. And whenever you untie this thing, make sure the tip of the wire, bandy wire, doesn't scratch any other parts of the figure. Otherwise you're gonna get another scuff, and yeah, you are gonna dislike your figure if you're the type of person to get bothered with those like myself. Just be careful when you open these. So first I took the Robocop outside of the box. Such an amazing piece. I've never seen this guy myself physically and with my own eye, and I went through the general things, because this is a second-hand item, with something like scuffs or whatsoever. Yes, very minimal issues that I would manage to find on this guy, and I'm gonna go through it with you. And flippin' favorite base, look at the diorama, dude. Oh my god, the texture is really rough. It's so realistic. It feels like an actual cement. Like, wow, that is flippin' insane diorama base. Easily one of the best one I've ever seen. I'm not a type of person to get any dioramas, but when it comes to the older classic kind of figures, they give you so much better. accessories with them. Pretty cool. And lastly, the pistol that this guy's supposed to hold. I got it out of a plastic bag. Fortunately, doesn't, you cannot take the mag out or something. Doesn't move, but still nicely detailed and stuff. Yeah, really nice figure. I really do not regret getting this. This is such a masterpiece. It's heavy. It's a heavy figure, and you know, this video, I know I'm kind of doing a little showcase because this is the new figure that I just unboxed myself as well. But at the same time, since this video is supposed to focus on how to take care of it and stuff, I'm going to tell you those things right now as we go through this. Now, how to take a great care, especially every time you get a new things over here. First, no matter what you get, if it's a new figure or not, a vintage figure especially, most of the time when you receive second-hand items like vintage ones like myself, it's either going to be extremely stiff when it comes to the articulation, like joints and stuff, or secondly, it's either going to be hella loose. So what you have to do is kind of give it a test with the articulation if you do not want to break it and take a good care with your figures. So I did do a little check with mine, so you can move it side to side, but it's kind of stiff to move it to the left right now, so I'm going to be careful. That's one point that I found out about this figure. And that's also a point where I decided to become super, careful when it comes to articulating this guy in the future on my shelf. So I also found out the neck joints are in ratchet joint, extremely cool. The arms move up and down and swivels up and down. The joint for the elbows also ratchet joint. Really cool. Same for the other side. And you hear more of a clicky sound on the other part of this arm. So it means this arm is way more stiff than the other one. Just be careful. Same with the other arm. It rotates up and down and stuff. The waist swivels, kind of stiff too. This joint swivels. Upper lower cut arm. The legs go up and down, and I think it's like a ball joint, but I'm gonna stretch it all the way outwards, just to maintain that balance. It can no longer split because of the detail over here. That's also another point that I found out. The knee, it's also made out of ratchet joint. Another point that I found out, but this part's like, no, this leg over here, the joints are a little loose. That's one other thing that I found out, so that I can be careful when I try to display this guy on my shelf, so that it does not lose its balance over time. Another problem, the cylinder is not broken at all. It's also ratchet jointed feet. Extremely cool when you articulate it because it moves inwards and outwards. This feet, every time I move it up, you see the cylinder here is like kind of bending, like that. That means in order to not break it, because it's not broken yet, and I really do not want to break it, it means I have to minimize the amount of the articulation I use for this feet over here, and I am not going to articulate it. I do not want to break it. Because the knee joints are loose that I found about this figure, there's a little cheat that you can use over here. Here's a little tip. Because this is a heavy figure, and it also has a little loose knee joints, what you want to do is use a small towel that you have, and you're gonna gently put this guy on it. But at the same time, this guy has a cylinder. It's at the back. That's the design of the Robocop. And because I do not want to break this cylinder, what I'm gonna do is lay him forward like that. That should be all good. You can lay him forward like that, so that I do not have to be concerned about, breaking this guy, or, have to be concerned about this guy himself losing its own balance. All good. And I found out nothing's broken, no scuffs whatsoever, in its one of the best condition that it can be for second-hand item. And you have to check the other accessories as well, like this diorama, if nothing's broken and all. Because sometimes, especially the store I use locally over here to get the second-hand item, because you can also use the shop to sell your stuff. But of course, there's going to be a little bit of profit that the shop owner's going to make every time you try to sell your figures using this business here. So at the same time, they also allow refund every time there's a problem with the figure as well. So that's a cool thing. So that's the second tip as well. You have to make sure that the store has this refund feature that they can give you when every time if there's a problem with the figure you're getting. Now, this has to be one of the most important starter point of this figure. This is probably what you came for. At the beginning of the video, all the way to the moment right now that I'm speaking, I gave you a small tip whenever you get a new figure and how to take a great care, and gave you a little bit of tip to, just go so that you have to go through the overall thing in your figure so that you'll be able to find some fragile points with your figure so that you can be careful with it. I don't know how many times I spoke the word figure in the previous sentence that I just spoke out, but yeah. What you have to do is a dust removal process with a brush. You do not use any brush that has extremely stiff brush. You have to use the one that's really smooth, something like these, and you give it a gentle clean to the visor, to the head, really cool. I do this with all of my figure, especially the very first time I get it. That's the moment where I give it a good thing, which I'm going to tell you in a bit. There's this secret magic spray that I use every time I try to, keep these guys in really good shape, even after decades or so. Here it is. So what you have to do is just, give it a gentle rub. The figure. This figure is just really heavy. It really is. And I can tell you right now, the older McFarlane was just classic, dude. Like, this? I'm not a type of person to collect, like, hot toys. Because in my opinion, yes, they're really cool and very detailed. I owned a few previously, but I sold all of them, like, years ago. Because of a few reasons. Hot toys are getting way more expensive over time, especially nowadays. So I'm not a type of person who wants to spend, like, couple hundreds for a single figure. Instead, I want to get like at least 2 or 3 with the amount of money that I can buy or purchase a single Hot Toys figure. Secondly, I'm more of a vintage figure collector, so I prefer older figures like these, Robocop, and just found out a little scuff over here. You can paint over it in black or so. So all the dust removal process is done for this Robocop at least. So regarding the scuff that I found, it's gone. How did I do that? Just use a really small, tiny black marker. Just give it a small, like, dot. Just poke it by like a little bit, and it's all gone. Use permanent marker or something. It's all good. You don't see the scuff now. That's really cool. So here's the most important part. I always use this thing. By the way, this is not sponsored at all. I'm just gonna tell you again right now. This product is never sponsored in my channel. I mean, I want to, honestly, but this video is not sponsored at all. And I'm just here with you to share, this product that I always spray on my figure in every single figure I have. It's the Glazer finishing solution from Gun Primer. So pretty sure this is the South Korean spray that was made in order to give a greater care to your action figures. You can use it in most of the materials on the figure, like plastic, of course, silicone, like rubber, PVC, I don't know, so many things you can use this on. But it doesn't work on the cloth like a actual physical like clothing that those like Hot Toys figure are wearing, but like head sculpt, like plastic pieces mostly. You can also spray it on your shelf that has a glass door or something. This thing, what it does to your figure is firstly it prevents it from changing its color scheme over time due to the sunlight that's hitting, just in case. Secondly, it makes it much easier so that you can move the dust way better than before. So it doesn't create any stickiness on your figure. Speak of the sticking like dust on your thing, it will also gonna remove the stickiness on your figure. if the stickiness is kind of insane on your figure, I cannot guarantee that's gonna work fully, but it worked most of the time for me over time. And you only have to spray this every like 6 months or like a year. That's really cool. And I'm gonna show you right now. It's also gonna make the color scheme much more crystal clear. Doesn't mean it's gonna change the flat matte coated paint scheme into gloss coated things. No, it's gonna remain the same. Like glossy parts of the figure will remain glossy, like flat matte part of the figure will remain as those flat matte figurine. So what I'm gonna do is I spray this thing on the helmet. By the way, this is how it looks before. Now spray. You just have to gently rub it all over the surface of the figure that it has been sprayed. It's gonna dry up rapidly, so I use this for my figure every time. Yeah. The thing is, it doesn't really change the color, as you can see, nothing. It really looks like there's little to no effect, but there actually is when you have to feel it. You have to actually touch it to feel that this thing is effective and actually really thinly coated on your figure. But I use this thing for all of my figure. I also used it for my Kenner Red Rex, Thresher T-Rex, and some of the metal figures that I like. I usually don't spray to the figures that I dislike, but that's what I do with all of my figures. So I'm gonna come back after I spray everything on this guy, in every part. And just a little quick thing, I just sprayed it all over the body. You can use the towel to kind of give it a last clean so that there are no liquids left. It's not going to remove the coating from the figure, it will still be there. You can see it's a little glossy for the silver and the black part. This is how the color scheme is actually meant to be on this figure. It doesn't, okay, this part is the only glossy place. This part is flat matte coated. If the spray actually makes everything glossy, it means this part also have to be glossy and glowing like the part at the middle, but it does not. And now you kind of see what I mean by it. It brings back the original color scheme, makes it more crystal clear. Really cool thing, a magic spray. And if you want to use this spray on the joints, be careful. It's gonna make it more loose than usual. So it's extremely useful to, sometimes people, I read some posts into Reddit, a lot of them before, to find some other tips previously when I were a action figure collector newbie as well. A lot of people tend to use like an oil to put it in the joint and make it less stiff and make it a little loose than before. Please don't use any like food stuff like on your figure. It's gonna, it's not gonna have a great thing on your figure, honestly, if you want to use those like oil and things. The oil's gonna dry up sometime in the future. It's not gonna last long. This waist was extremely stiff before, but now that I gave it a little spray that I wanted to make a little loose, it's much better now. It's still a bit stiff, but I don't want to make it too loose, so I gave it a just little tiny bit of spray on this thing. Still pretty cool. I remember at the beginning of the video when we tried out the articulation, the headpiece was really stiff to move to its right. Not anymore. It's actually much more loose now because I sprayed it, and now it moves smoothly. Really cool thing. Okay, so spraying for the Robocop is actually done right now, so wow, it's a 12-inch figure, so it took, I don't know, like 20 to 30 minutes to get every part of this figure sprayed properly and, give it a lot of love with this figure. I'm already in love with this figure. Such a cool piece. One of the best Robocop figure I ever owned. Over here, pretty cool. Though after I used, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Though I used this spray, since I used the spray, now the color scheme is more crystal clear. I found out a few blue marker scheme things at the back. I don't know how the hell I didn't even manage to find this blue marker thing at the beginning when I unboxed it. Probably I was overwhelmed with this figure. But here's the thing, every time you get a new figure on the day, if you're the type of person to get bothered with scuffs and things, you might agree with me. Day after day, and every time the day passes and moves on, you can find one or two more scuffs in each of those days. You'll be able to find more scuffs every day. So the day I receive it, I give it a really solid look around with my figure, so that I don't want to get bothered with any other extra stuff that I find like the day after today or something, you know? Still a cool thing. This video takes much longer than I thought. Damn, man, this thing is huge. Spray? You can just give it a little bit of spray like that and just have to spread it around with a brush. Oh, by the way, this spray also makes the thing, your thing waterproof. So you don't have to worry when things get wet on your figure. It's fine. You see, and even though it looks glossy right now, it's gonna turn back to its original color once it's fully dried. Really cool stuff. Spray just a little bit, because I don't want to use too much of this thing. The spray is actually a little expensive for a spray compared to the amount they give you on this thing. Still really cool. So once it's all done, you can just give it a little gentle rub with the figure. Not the figure, with the towel, and now it's all good. It feels much more smoother than before. You can definitely feel it. Diorama as well. Just same thing. I'm not gonna spray it at the bottom because it should be fine. Wow. Spray once, twice is enough. Just give it a rub. Wow, this diorama base is something else, really. Like, it's really cool. I like this base. Holy crap. And I'm gonna give it a coat to the peg so that in case the peg hole and the peg on the base attachment is actually kind of stiff, I do not want to break it, so I'm gonna make it a little bit easier to remove by giving it a coating on this thing. The parcel box, a bit. The trash bin, is it? The parcel box is small enough so that I can, fully spread this liquid like a jam. You put it on a white bread, something like that. This should be enough too. Just enough. Back. Just to give it. It's the bigger the figure and the more detailed the figure. The more detailed the figure has, it takes much longer to take care of this thing. Smaller figures, like 6-inch figures, yes, takes like a little less than 10 minutes to spray everything. This thing is a big one. It really is big. That's why it's taking longer than usual. And it has a lot more detail than the 6-inch ones. So spraying is all done now. And be careful when you use the spray if you actually decided to get this. Because if the spray gets all the way on the floor of your room, it's going to be really slippery later on. You have to use a special solvent, or there's this other thing these guys also sell so that you can remove this coating thing from your figure safely. I never used it myself because, I don't know. I didn't manage to find any other reason to buy that thing because I just need enough the spray that I currently use, to get things sprayed. I don't know what the hell I'm saying, honestly. But here it is. Robocop with a pistol. Really cool. I'm not going through a review because this is more like a tip-related video, how I take care of my figures. So after I take care of it, what I do is I usually review the figures. If I decide not to review it today or something, this guy goes into a shelf. Straight ahead. And important thing is, firstly, you have to, even though you have to spray this thing, aforementioned, this spray prevents the figure from changing its color from the sunlight, or UV light, should I say. It's protective. But even after all, you still have to make sure that all of your figures are displayed in a cool and dry place. That's really basic knowledge that a lot of collectors have. And you have to make sure the best way to actually display these guys is to give it a little space in the display shelf with like a glass door or something so that you can fully close it and then, minimize the amount of dust that this guy is going to get wrapped around and things. That's what I do as well. Thirdly, what I do is I give at least like 5 centimeters between each figures that I display with. And at every individual like box of the shelf, the square-ish or rectangle, the space it has, I do not put too many figures at once on each shelf, part of the shelf at least, or each space, should I say. Every figure is made out of different, material when it comes to the painting. They're all made from different company and stuff. If one falls off, the others will fall over as well, creating a lot of damage and scuffs. I do not want that. And especially this is a rare and big figure that's little hard to balance on its own. I mean, it can balance definitely, but still, even I'm afraid, I might put this guy on the base. Maybe not as well, because the base is just extremely roughly textured. Might create a scuff on the bottom of the feet, and I'm a type of guy to get, extremely bothered with those tiny scuffs that I get due to myself. That's the moment where I mostly get pissed off. I'm fine with getting second-hand figures with minimal scuffs and marks and things, but when it comes to myself receiving the second-hand figure, very satisfied on the first day that I received, like this Robocop right now, and then every time I put this guy on a shelf and smack this guy accidentally on somewhere as I put it inside the shelf, and if it creates a scuff due to that thing, I'm gonna get extremely mad, dude. Like, yeah, still cool stuff. Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, that's how I usually, take care of my figure. Like this glazer spray that I use it in almost every figure that I collect in my shelf. It's such a good use. I really do recommend it. And yeah, pretty cool stuff. There's nothing better that I can do when it comes to, taking care of my figure from now on. I do not use any LED lights on my shelf, because that thing also can change the color scheme on your figure over time if you use it too much. I always put my figures in a dark, cool, and dry place in my shelf, and that's where I place my shelf as well. It has to be in the room. I put it in my living room where it's cool and dry most of the time and things. Really cool stuff. This was a really long video. Too much things happened while I recorded this thing. It's usually much faster without recording when it comes to, taking care and giving a coat with every part of this thing. This thing was way too detailed and massive than the figures that I usually collect. But yeah, hope this kind of helped and gave you an idea. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll come back with another review.